Your phone is about to do something it has never done before. Not just answer your questions, not just set a timer or play a song. It is going to read your emails, scroll through your photos, open your apps, fill out your forms, and place your orders, all by itself while you are doing something else entirely. And the update that makes this possible is coming to hundreds of millions of Android phones in just weeks. It is called Android 17. And honestly, it is scaring me a little. Let me explain why. Google just held its annual developer conference, Google I/O 2026, and the announcements that came out of it were not normal. This was not the usual presentation, where they show you a slightly prettier notification shade and call it a revolution. What Google revealed at the Android show on May 12th, and then confirmed at I/O on May 19th, 2026, is something genuinely different, something that changes what a smartphone operating system actually is. Android 17, codenamed Cinnamon Bun. Internally, is scheduled to drop its stable release in June 2026, starting with Google Pixel devices first, then Samsung Galaxy S26 shortly after, and then rolling out to the rest of the Android world through the remainder of the year. Beta versions have been running since February 14th, 2026. The platform reached stability on March 26th. This thing is basically ready. It is coming. And when it arrives, your phone is going to start working in a way that might take a minute to get your head around. The headline feature is something Google is calling Gemini intelligence. And before you roll your eyes and say it is just another AI assistant rebrand, hear me out, because this is genuinely not that. Previous AI assistants on your phone were reactive. You talked to them, they responded, they maybe opened an app, and then they handed control back to you. The interaction started and ended in one place. Gemini intelligence is completely different in its design. It is not a chatbot sitting on top of your phone. It is a layer woven directly into the operating system itself, so deep that even the system, animations on your screen shift to show you when Gemini is listening, when it is thinking, and when it is generating something. Google's own description of what they are building is striking. They are not calling Android 17 an update to a smartphone operating system. They are calling it an AI-driven intelligence system. Let that sit for a second. So what does this actually look like in practice? Here's a concrete example that was demonstrated publicly. You copy a grocery list into your Notes app. Then you just ask Gemini to add those items to your cart on a delivery app. And Gemini does it. It opens the app, navigates through it, searches for each item, adds them, and reports back to you. You did not touch the app once. Or say you need to book a fitness class. You tell Gemini. It goes into whatever app you use, finds the class, checks your schedule in Google Calendar so it does not double book you, and presents you with a confirmation before finalizing anything. The human only comes back in at the very end for that final tap. Everything in between is handled. This is what technologists call agentic AI, an agent that takes action on your behalf across multiple apps, multiple steps, running in the background while you get on with your day. And it is not theoretical anymore. It is shipping in June 2026. There's a feature inside Gemini Intelligence called Magic Q, and the pro version of it might be the most quietly significant thing in this entire update. Magic Q reads the context of what you are doing on your phone at any given moment and proactively surfaces suggestions before you even ask. You are looking at a restaurant in Google Maps. Magic Q might suggest you check your weekend calendar or ask if you want to make a reservation. You get a text from a friend about a movie. It might pull up showtimes. It is your phone watching what you're doing and jumping in before you even form the thought to ask for help. Google says this works through something they call Private Compute Core, a protected on-device processing environment. The company also states it added protections specifically against a risk called prompt injection, which is where malicious content on a web page or inside an app could theoretically trick an AI agent into doing something you did not intend. Third-party security experts have audited key parts of this architecture, and those parts are open source. That is all genuinely reassuring. But the fact that Google even had to build those protections tells you something about how much access this system now has. Then there is intelligent autofill, and this one genuinely made me pause when I read about it. Old autofill knew your name, your address, your saved password, basic stuff. The new intelligent autofill powered by Gemini can scan your Google Photos, find a picture of your passport, read the information off the image, and drop your passport number directly into an airline booking form. In one tap, without you copying anything, it pulls from Gmail, it pulls from Google Wallet, it pulls from your photo library. It connects the dots between your data that previously lived in separate silos and uses all of it together. The convenience argument is undeniable. If you have ever had to dig out a document just to type a number into a box, you know how genuinely useful this would be. But it also means Gemini now has a reason to be reading across your emails, your photos, your financial documents, and your stored credentials simultaneously. There's also a feature called Rambler built into Gboard, the Android keyboard. Rambler listens to your voice, and as you speak, it cleans up what you say in real time, correcting dates, fixing names, polishing context, turning rough voice dictation into clean, ready-to-send text. It is a small thing, but a very sticky one. And once you use it a few times, you will wonder how you lived without it. And that stickiness is exactly what Google is counting on. Now, let us talk about desktop mode, because this is the feature that might surprise the most people. Android 17 is bringing a full desktop experience to your phone when you connect it to an external display. We are talking about a taskbar that shows your frequently used apps, resizable windows you can drag and size like a PC, floating windows, drag and drop between apps, and full mouse and keyboard input. This is directly comparable to Samsung's DeX mode, which Samsung users have had for years. Android is now making it native to the entire ecosystem. You plug your phone into a monitor, and you have something that functionally resembles a laptop running a real operating system. And with Gemini Intelligence running underneath all of it, you have an AI co-pilot sitting inside that desktop experience. Google also announced a new laptop category they are calling Google Book, Android-based PCs built from the ground up to run Gemini Intelligence natively, with a feature called Magic Pointer, where hovering your cursor over anything on screen prompts the AI for context-aware suggestions instantly. The reach of Android 17 goes well beyond your phone screen. Gemini Intelligence is designed to follow you, from your phone to your Android Auto system in your car, where a new feature called Immersive Navigation adds a full 3D view of Google Maps, alongside an AI assistant that can explain engine warning lights in plain language and answer complex route questions in conversation. Then onto Wear OS smartwatches. Then onto Android XR glasses, which Google also previewed at I/O 2026. Then to Google Book laptops later in the year. Google is building what they describe themselves as a cross-platform intelligence layer. Not an app, not an assistant, a layer that runs beneath everything, connecting all the devices in your life together through a single AI brain. And Google confirmed that over 250 million Android Auto cars are in line to receive Gemini features. 250 million cars. That is a number so large it is almost abstract. Now here is the part of this story that requires some honest nuance, because this channel does not do hype without the full picture. Privacy advocates have already raised real questions about Android 17, and those questions deserve to be taken seriously. Privacy advocates note that while Google emphasizes on-device processing for sensitive operations, the company has not published detailed documentation covering exactly which data types stay on your device and which ones travel to Google's cloud for processing. That distinction matters enormously. An AI that processes your passport photo and your Gmail and your calendar entirely on your device is a fundamentally different proposition from one that sends pieces of that context to remote servers to generate its responses. Google has spoken publicly about technologies like private compute core and private AI compute as protective frameworks. They have stated that third-party experts have audited key parts of the AI security architecture and that those parts are open source. These are meaningful commitments, but the full documentation is not yet public, and for a system that's integrated into your digital life, the details are not a footnote. They are the whole story. There is also the question of trust over time. One tech publication put it well when they wrote that the version of this technology that Google envisions, where your phone works for you throughout the day without constant direction, requires the user to believe that the AI understands the difference between tasks they would approve and tasks they would not. That trust is built slowly, one confirmed action at a time. And Android 17 is where the clock starts on that process. Google has been clear that Gemini Intelligence is opt-in. You enable the features manually. You tell Gemini when to connect to your apps. You give it access to your data and your camera. Final approvals on actions always come back to you before anything is confirmed. The system always asks before, completing something on your behalf. That is the right design for now. But it is worth understanding what you are opting into when you say yes, because this is not a toggle that turns on a widget. It is a toggle that lets an AI agent into the middle of your digital life. It is also worth noting that some of these features are hardware dependent. The most powerful Gemini Intelligence capabilities, including Magic Q Pro and multi-step automation, require at least 12 gigabytes of RAM and support for Gemini Nano version 3. That means these features are launching first on the Pixel 10 and Galaxy S26 this summer and will roll out to other high-end devices through 2026 and into 2027. Older phones or mid-range devices will get Android 17, but without the full Gemini Intelligence feature set. So, if you are on a device from a couple of years ago, your experience of this update will be more incremental than revolutionary. The eligible devices are broad, though. Every Pixel from the Pixel 6 through the Pixel 10 series is on the list, which is significant because Google extended software support for the Pixel 6, 7, and Pixel Fold by 2 extra years beyond what was originally promised. Samsung's Galaxy S26 range gets Android 17 alongside Pixels this summer. OnePlus, Xiaomi, Motorola, Honor, Vivo, Oppo, and others will follow through the back half of 2026. Sony Xperia devices are expected between August and November 2026, based on the company's typical rollout lag. By late 2026, Android 17 will be the operating system running on the majority of active high-end Android devices worldwide. So zoom out and think about what this actually is. Google is shipping an update that turns your phone from a tool you use into an agent that acts on your behalf. It reads across your apps. It navigates interfaces for you. It connects your photos to your forms, your emails to your calendar, your voice to polished text, your intentions to completed actions. And it is doing this not just on your phone, but extending that capability to your car, your watch, your future laptop, and eventually your glasses. This is either the most useful thing ever put on a smartphone or the most significant expansion of what a consumer software platform is allowed to access and do, or both. That is the honest position right now. There is no version of this story where the answer is clean and simple. Android 17 is not scaring me because Google did something wrong. Looking at the documentation, the opt-in design, the on-device protections, the third-party audits, Google has clearly thought carefully about how to build this. It is scaring me in the way that any genuinely transformative technology is a little frightening when you stand right at the edge of it, before you know how it actually plays out in the real world at scale across hundreds of millions of devices. The stable release drops in June 2026. Pixels get it first. The rest of the Android world follows through the summer and autumn. Within a year, the majority of active Android users will have this running on their phones. The appless world that one Google I/O journalist half joked about during the live blog, where we just talk to an AI that reaches into whatever service we need, is no longer a distant theory. It is a software update away. And you either find that thrilling or unsettling, or probably both at exactly the same time. Because that is what it actually means to be living through a moment when the thing in your pocket stops being a smart tool and starts becoming something that thinks alongside you. That update is almost here. And however you feel about it, that feeling is probably the right one.